So I'll see if I can magic wand that now. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. And then I'm going to Control Shift I to invert it. Okay, I'm going to refine the edge. See what I've got. Oh man, let's pick the inside of the grip. So there's still some repairing to do. Sorry. Say that'll fix it. That's good enough. Might want to pick the inside of that ring as well. It's called a lanyard ring. They had this weird thing about officers being worried that they would drop their pistol and they'd tie that on with a little bit of rope. So invert the selection again. Finally, the fine edge is going to look right. Now we want to be able to see the line work. So the setting I was last on was expanding a little bit. We want to actually contract it a little bit so that it's just inside the line work, because we're going to just color this in. We want it to be inside the lines, literally inside the lines. Maybe not smooth it so much or feather it quite as much. Feather it a tiny bit can be handy. Anyway, go back to your layer that's inside the multiply group, and we'll grab just like a gunmetal grade, I guess. Like gunmetal is usually a tiny bit blue. Just dump that on there. So, oh, that's not great. That's okay though. That's fine. Didn't pick the hammer. You know, no big deal, because we can just easily paint that in. It's not perfectly in the lines, but you know, screw it for the sake of getting this done. So we have got a coloured in piece of line work, and hopefully all you guys who are keen, avid artists are going to see that they can use that for like colouring in any line work they ever scan into their computer ever. I will clean this up a little bit too. It looks pretty bad, looking pretty shady. I'll just quickly drop a line in there, actually, just for the heck of it. Just gonna clear that off. Okay, I'm cool with that now. That's our base color, I suppose. Now, what we might want to do as well is get color pick that, get something a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit more, you know, a little bit more saturated, possibly, and then go new layer, and then we'll go right click and go create clipping mask, which means it will only paint where there's stuff below it. So anything transparent will be on this layer, will be transparent in this layer. That's what a clipping mask is. You right click and go create clipping mask. So we've got this grey gunmetal sort of base texture, and we're going to grab this lighter color, and let's use this. You'll get a lot of benefit if you use a Wacom for this stuff, but I mean, not everyone has one, so I'm going to work with that one. And we're just going to pick some sort of upward facing things, and we're just going to lighten them a little bit. Might want to go a little bit brighter than that. And the color picking stuff isn't a huge deal. If you're not satisfied with the color you first pick, that's fine. Because you know, if you just keep mixing in more and more colors, it looks sort of more like a painting. I'm gonna pick some of this along here to look neato. Just gonna do a nice sort of broad highlight in the middle of that thing. And what else we got? One in the magazine, maybe. On this magazine too. And then we're gonna want to small. Yeah, that's cool. Just sort of highlight these, because these are the magazine lips, by the way, and they're often bent to hold the actual bullets in. What else we got? I'm going to color this a little bit more, because if you look up here, that's the rear sight, and this part of it, this is angled a little bit, I suppose. I'm putting highlights down here because there's a curve here. See, this doesn't have to be particularly neat or tidy. You can just sort of wing a lot of this. There's a big old round thing here that I'm going to highlight. What else is cool to do? Put a few little strokes in that. Same over here. It's not looking too great, probably because I'm not using a Wacom stylus. You'll probably get one if you get way into this 3D and 2D art stuff. Actually, I'm going to do the opposite of what I just did. That doesn't look great to me. And again, I can just go way outside the line. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so just basically all that kind of stuff is. I could talk to you about exactly what I'm doing, but I'm just lighting things, and I'm assuming the light to be coming from above, in case that's not obvious. Okay, looks cool to me. Now, what I'm going to do is, a lot of the time, they would use two different grades of metal on old pistols and rifles and things, and it just looks cool to have a two-tone sort of aesthetic anyway. So it's both realistic and cool. Definitely do things that are both realistic and cool. That's the thing. People always assume that realism can't be cool, but a lot of the time realism is actually pretty sick. I'm going to make a new layer to do this stuff on. So basically, they would use usually lower grades of steel or higher grades of steel, depending on how much work each part was doing. Like, I mean, I'm gonna treat this as, I guess, my hardened steel sort of stuff, because these are all the little moving parts. Like, this is the little lever to hold the slide back on the last, round or whatever and release it. And this is the hammer, obviously, which gets absolutely smashed constantly with any kind of pistol. And this is, these are all grippy objects and things. I'll do this as well. This is that's just a little, I don't know how to explain that. It's like a little cutout I've made, which is sort of jacked from like a Luger or something. Trigger obviously needs to be usually a different grade of steel to the outside casing of the firearm. These can be different. You can largely do it for taste, but if you think a little bit about it as well, it's cool. I've just noticed that that's been filled in, and I don't want that to be filled in, so I'm gonna just kill that. Okay, so we've got that happening, which is cool. I'm cool with that so far. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna do the inside of this. Oh, that's no good. I want to do it on the side. The inside of this slide, which I guess would be the chamber face, showing there. We get this safety thing here. Hammer again. Literally coloring book lads and ladettes. Do this one too, because that's that big one single piece, which is of course, like I said, jacked from a Mauser C96. Some people might know them as broom handles. Now this is that little slide release thing back down there. Pops out from there, I guess. And this is the so that's kind of neato. I don't mind that. It's looking okay to me. Then what I'm going to do is, I'll do the magazine as well. Magazines are usually almost exclusively in a different grade of steel. So control click this real quick, because this is a big area that I want to fill in quickly. So I'm going to control click the base layer that has everything colored in, back up to the different grade of steel or whatever. Get a nice big brush and just, do a bit of that business. I've already shaded that in, which was really dumb of me, because I should have thought ahead and thought, I'm going to make that a different steel, so I won't shade that in. But who cares? Whatever. Another thing I'll do is I will get a nice dark, ready, rich brown sort of thing. I'll start painting this in again on a new layer, so that I can edit it easily. This is going to be some nice old school looking, walnut or something. They love making walnut furniture on old weapons. By the way, furniture is what they call all the parts which you hold. It's usually wood or plastic in modern ones. Sometimes it's metal, not that often. I'm going to go back to this layer, and I've noticed this. I've made a cutout for this safety thing here, so I'm going to do that in the same grade of steel as the safety. So that's kind of neat. I'm okay with that. Okay, so I better clean this up a little bit. That's not going all the way to the edge. That'll do. Now I'm going to grab a darker, more saturated brown. Actually, first I'm going to grab almost black and quite a bit more red. And I'm going to turn on preserve transparency on the wood layer, which I'll call wood, by the way. And then I'll call this one steel 2 and this one steel 1. Okay, so a thing you'll notice if you look at lots of pictures of weapons is they get sort of stained a little bit from use, I guess. Grunge and crap just sort of gathers on them, so I'm just going to quickly block that out first before I do anything else. Then I'm going to grab, I guess, a black new layer and make that a clipping mask again. Alright, so I'm going to get a pretty big brush on a pretty low opacity. I'm going to set this to overlay and I'm going to start painting some shading onto that. Alright, again, assuming the lighting's coming from the top. And then I'm going to grab like a light color, kind of yellowy orangey, but mostly just lighter. Make it a little bit small, maybe. And do the opposite on the other side. Right, you see what I'm doing there? Just sort of build up layers of this business. So that's kind of cool. It's looking more or less how I want it to. I'll do the same thing down here, right there. And I'll put dark stuff there. Okay. I'll get this other steel grade and make a clipping mask of that again. Another layer for these, the shading on these. I'll set that to overlay as well. Just do some of this business. This is really quick. You could obviously do a way better job of this than I am doing right now. This is like noob mode. Just picking some upwards facing surfaces and sort of highlighting them a bit. Sorry if this is tedious. I'm just trying to go as fast as possible. It's not really going that well though. I'll just quickly pick up a highlight there. So again, this is all like, if you know some basic painting and stuff, you'll be picking this up a lot easier. I've noticed that I've gone over the lines a little bit there. I'm going to just clean that up a tiny bit, even though this isn't a particularly clean little project anyway. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with what I've got now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another layer on top of the wood, right? And this is where I'm going to start highlighting. Highlighting is something that just sort of gives that little finishing touch on stuff. What I'm going to do is just quickly draw like a little sharp, sort of tight highlight there, right? And often you will get like a slight rim light on the other side as well, if you want it to look kind of neater. Now I'm going to actually take that out of the multiply layer, so that this is just going right over the top of the line work. So when you do your highlights, do them over the top of the line work. If you want that sort of semi, I guess it looks a bit more realistic. It looks more like a real object because you don't have lines around everything, and that's sort of like what cartoons do. They draw lines around everything, so this is making it just look a little bit less cartoony, I suppose. So we got this sort of glossy thing. Like, think of it in the same terms that you do in 3ds Max. Like, nice. Like, you've got big, broad sort of highlights, which is the low gloss, and then you've got like the high gloss stuff, which is more matte and less glossy. Okay, so that's your wood highlights, I suppose. And let's make let's do one highlights So I'm going to just paint over this like I needed more opacity in that boy. So again, just picking up like upwards facing surfaces and stuff, just highlighting stuff. If this isn't already known to you, shift click is a pretty sick one. It's you can sort of draw a line instead of drawing like a freeform freehand thingy. I'm going to do another little minor highlight down there, but the main deal is going to be up here. If that's a cylinder, right? What I'm going to do to these is get a little bit of blue in them. So I've got that picked and I've turned on preserve transparency and I'm just going to bucket over a lot of them. Okay, cool. That's not great, but that'll do for this sort of demo. Just pick up a few more edges that sort of feel right to highlight to you. Obviously, you probably want to avoid highlighting, you know, the undersides. They've already got line work on them, which is working fine. That's what I want to do. Yeah, the dark stuff already has line work, so it's sort of, if you just leave it there, you'll be okay. Really softly on this one. Just do it sort of like a, you know, just a bit of a gradient looking thing. I guess it's kind of, it's very quick and sort of half-assed, but hopefully you can get the basic idea and really run with it. I hope you guys can come up with something cool from this. And always remember to use a consistent light source, which I haven't totally paid attention to. Should have. So yeah, I'm just literally going over and just doing just very fine highlighting sort of stuff on this little fella. Get this as well. Can't believe I missed that one. Now remember, you can go over the lines and just clean it up later. It's not a big deal. Painting outside the lines is easy to fix in Photoshop. It's also easy to fix before you even do it, but you know, whatever. It's no big deal. Okay, steel 2, let's do that. Cool, I just noticed something. I'll go do this little lanyard loop. Let's say this is really rushed, but you guys will know what to do when the time comes. Sorry for making stupid mouth noises. I know it's like mega annoying. Someone was doing this while I was trying to watch a tutorial. I'll probably want to smash their heads in. That'll do for now. I'm not even focusing on that bullet. Let's just sort of give it that. That'll do. Okay, cool. Steel highlights. Let's do steel number 2. Pick that. Go really bright and fairly saturated deal. Do that. It's just the same again. Just going over these thingies. Sorry, I should probably be a little bit more descriptive. Just going over any lines that sort of catch the light and bumping them up a little bit. This is meant to be just like a little crease in the magazine, I suppose. Which is, you know, it's just a stylization thingy that I've added. So there's something to look at other than just plain flat magazine. add some little bits and pieces. Again, like I keep stressing, you want to kind of mute out some of the upwards facing lines, because it'll make it look a little bit less like a cartoon. A little bit. It depends if your drawing is as nasty as this one. And again, keep stressing, always keep in mind what your light sources are. This is up and to the left, both on this image and on the one above it, up and to the left. You can see the trigger is quite far back in the trigger guard, which looks like it's actually being pulled, but the idea was because the hammer is cocked, the trigger's in a single action mode at the moment. You can always tell a single action pistol from a double action one, because double action usually the pistol has a lot of travel to move to cock the hammer and fire, not just cock the hammer. If you ever see a pistol with a that's not cocked and the trigger is still traveling far backwards in the trigger guard, then it's probably a single action pistol, like a Colt single action, like what what's his name, Revolver Ocelot uses in Metal Gear and stuff. Cool. Okay, that's fine by me. To be honest, it's not great, but it'll do. I might just quickly steal highlights. I'll just fade these in a little bit just to look. Okay, now what we will do is I'll just quickly block some coloring on that on this cartridge thingy. I've gone for like an orange sort of, because then if you get much more yellow color as your highlights, and I'm just going to do that straight on the same layer, just sort of really quickly. Again, just going over things more than once to lighten them. Probably better knock some of these out. So yeah, like I said, you want to kind of neutralize some of these black lines so it looks more painting and not as cartoon. Okay, cool, that'll do. Anyway, then control click this, control shift I to invert the selection, and then just delete a few of these, maybe, like just to get rid of any out of the line stuff I've done. I will just control click and then bucket this, or sorry, go layer mask, hide selection, then I'll do that. So again, it's not excellent or anything, but I'm sure it's cool enough for the purposes of quickly getting an assignment done and having, I mean, if you have better line work, it's always going to look better than that. But there's I guess a concept painting. It looks more shiny than I'd like, but whatever. I'm going to call that done. Hope you learned something. Later.